Okay, so the class is being recorded as usual, and my name is Dr. Sami Abdel Jalil, and this is EA300B. So what is it that we're having on the agenda tonight? It's the same thing. We're continuing with the tale of Peter Rabbit. So I know it's kind of intensive. I know that it was only yesterday that we met for the first time, but we're expecting much. Again, this is the intensive nature of the summer semester, and I think I warned you against it. So have we done anything? Have we read the picture book? Because it's a picture book, make no mistake of it. It's not a novel. So if it was a novel, I would have given you more time. But it's a picture book where you normally have pictures, lots of them, and that would make it easy to process and also to finish. So if you have read the picture book that I shared with you on the WhatsApp group, raise your hand. Mm, mm.
Sorry, doctor. May I say something?
No. Wait. Let me wait. Okay, so I can see how many hands. Sarah and Diala, Zahra. Only three people out of how many? Were like 20 something, ya Jamaa. So any يعني good reason why you haven't done that? Remember, this is a picture book, not a novel. Hmm. زعلان والله. يعني don't blame me if you don't get the marks that you're expecting. Huh? Don't come to me and say, I mean, you haven't given me what I deserve and stuff like that. You're not doing what you're supposed to do, right? So when I ask you to read a novel, when we go to The Other Side of Truth or Tom's Midnight Garden, obviously you're not going to read them, which can be very frustrating and disappointing. Anyway, so it's a meager number of people. We have like three people who have read. Anyway, um, yeah, three or four, yes. Okay, so other than that, I also shared the recording. Have you gone through the recording? If you have gone, I mean, drop your hands and then raise them again if you have watched the recording. Those who have watched the recording, raise your hands. Okay, so I am collecting impressions about people, and you are obviously testing me, right? Okay. Only like four people, yeah, five people. That's a minority. Anyway, right. Drop your hands. Okay, so how much do we know about children literature? We know a lot by now, given the fact that this is not our first course, this is our second one, right? So what did we say about children's literature? We said that it is ostensibly for and about children, but there is obviously more to children's literature than having child or children readers. They can be I mean, the readers can also be adults, right? Because the concerns and the issues are sometimes bigger than what we think they are. And we have a good example in the tale of Peter Rabbit, where when we talk about the issues as grand and as big as defying authority, disobedience, challenging the system, facing up to oppression. These are obviously big issues. You may even stop and think, would that be suitable and appropriate for a child. Yeah, if they are not appropriate for a child, they can be appropriate for an adult. So that's why children's literature, like I said, addresses everyone, targets everyone. It's not only the child that will have. Somebody's raising his or her hand. Go ahead.
Yes, doctor. And also, you said yesterday that it's a crossover literature, which means that literature it's written for both adults and children.
Yeah, that too. That's true. The fact that like I said, ostensibly it's about children and for children, but it's bigger than that. Like I said, the issues tell us that the it addresses people who are obviously more than just children. Another question that we also raised was about what is it that we want to do? Are we there to delight, to amuse the readers, or to give them instruction? Instruction means that you're trying to educate them, to teach them. And this is going to be even more so with people like Naidu in The Other Side of Truth. She addressed this particular point. She spoke about it. And we also have that with Potter, Beatrice Potter. She didn't talk about it, but other people or other scholars spoke about it. It's in one of if not actually one, it's more than one in more than one article. Let me remember the articles that we spoke about yesterday. In one of them, you have this idea of whether she was trying to give a moral lesson like everybody else, or perhaps she wanted to create for the sake of creation. She wanted to write and illustrate for the sake of. So we're going to kind of talk a lot about this idea of delight and instruction, whether this kind of literature is meant to delight or instruct or perhaps both. So my second question is about the articles. I gave a presentation on the 4 articles and the introduction even by what's her name, Goodman. So have you read the articles? Sarah did. That's good. Who else did? Zahra did. That's interesting. Diala. Okay, fine. And Shaza read the articles. Okay. So, and we have 4. So I would like you to choose an article. You don't have to be perfect. I know that it was, and the time is kind of limited and short and everything. At least give us an overview of the article. So choose an article, those who have raised their hands, and we have 4, right? And I would like you to come to the mic and give us an overview of the article. And like I said, I'm not expecting perfection. Just be yourself. And we are more than happy that you walked the extra mile and you went out of your way and read the article.
Can I,
Uh,
doctor?
Can I,
wait,
doctor?
wait,
Can I,
wait, wait,
doctor?
wait. Okay, fine. So let's choose. Okay, so we're going to have, yeah, we have the menu of articles. Let's take them one at a time and let's start with the first one. Who would like to do the first one to give us an overview of the first one?
Can I,
Uh,
doctor?
no, no, fine, drop your hands. Drop your hands.
Okay.
Drop your hands, everyone, everyone. Okay, now, if you would like to go with the first one, raise your hand. Okay, let's have Diala doing the first one.
Yes, doctor. The first
Yes.
article, I will talk about William Möbius. In his article, I feel that in his article, which is called The Picture Book Codes,
Mhm.
he just introduced that the bright colors in the picture shows the person that in the picture that he is happy. So according to the colors, he just give us an indicator. He just draw relationship between the feelings and the colors in the pictures. Whereas the dark colors in the picture shows the person in his picture that he is sad. For example, in the first picture in our tail, we have the rabbit and he is wearing the blue jacket, and there is some colors such as green and orange, which shows that Peter is happy in his nature, in his new experience.
Yeah, he is excited about the experience,
Yeah.
right? Mhm.
Yes. So this is my conclusion about the first article about Peter
Yeah,
Möbius, that he is, yeah, William Möbius. Mhm.
okay. Would other people like to add to that? Those who have read? Let's have Sarah.
Yes.
Are you are
Yeah.
you are you going to expand on the ideas that Diala mentioned about
Mm,
Mobius?
Not much, mashallah, she did good. But
Mm.
yesterday, while you were doing the presentation, doctor, I wrote them down on my book, so that's why I read them twice. But before William, we have Wally. It was the first critic, I guess. Back to 17th century, he was arguing about the cost of these picture books, about the pictures and the designs, and how it cannot be equal by both text and pictures. That's what I would like to add. Yeah.
Okay, so are you coming again with a different article, or you wanted to
I can.
add, or you'll talk about a
can.
different article, but later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Sarah. Let's go all the way to, I can see Muhammad Ramadan. Do we have Muhammad Ramadan? No, obviously, no. Okay, so let's go to Zahra.
Yes, doctor. So
Oh.
about William Möbius.
Yeah, you're going to add to what Diala is saying and then have your own article, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
read the article. It talks about how everything that the writer have depicted in the picture book is very done carefully and according to a specific codes. For example, the code colors and the poster. Like for example, when who is bigger, is it Peter or McGregor, and what is the color of the clothing for Peter, for his sister? Like they were different color. Peter was wearing blue and the sister were wearing red. And also when the mother was taking the turn or the responsibility of the father, she was wearing blue, so that they presented. And through the story, like each picture is done very carefully through a very specific codes, and not like what people might think naturally or like just very normal children books.
Yeah. Okay, this is as far as Mobis is concerned. Would you like to give us your to talk about a different article?
I don't know what to talk about, but if there's a specific question, like I can answer it.
You read the article, right?
Yes, I did, all of them.
You all of them.
Yeah.
So which of them you feel more comfortable talking about? If you can give us an overview, an outline of the article, what does it what it addresses and what issues it brings to the table and stuff like that.
So the article for William Movies is the one that stick to my mind. So since we've just read them yesterday, but for me, I think Macri, she talks about how the text is organized and how delicate the writer words are, the language, and how she uses the margin of the books and the frames of the book as well, and the spaces between, and the font she uses, the color, everything. Like that's what was the article about.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Zahra, so much.
You're welcome.
Sarah is raising her hand one more time. Sarah, can what is it that you're asking about?
Sorry, I forgot. But if you want to talk to, you want me to talk about another article,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, if you're ready with another article, that's
Can I?
go ahead.
Yeah. One of the critics was Margaret Mackey.
Mm-hmm.
She see pictures book as a textual work of art, and how they combine the text and picture together, not only use language for that, so it can suit kids, and they have narrative function, and the author is in control of his picture book.
Her picture book. Yes.
Yeah, her picture book.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. Shaza or Shada? Shaza, you're raising your hand.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. Would you like to give us an overview of any of the articles?
So I read about the tale of Peter Rabbit. According to William Mobius, about his article, Picture Book Codes. Let's talk about the bright colors in the picture show that a person is happy, and then the darker colors in the picture show that person picture it is sad.
Okay. What
Yeah,
else?
so
That's it?
that and the others I didn't continue about them. The other articles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Shaza.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still raising your hand, Yadiala.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
doctor. According to Scott also. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, according to Scott, he just raising the issues that the other crickets just discussed, like Margaret Mackey's and Sharon Goodman. He just focusing on the language and the pictures and their positions, as he claims that Peter, the tale that we have it, Peter's, that it's a different picture books from any other picture books that we have it, because he it just shows that the Peter Rabbit is just shown in a close up and near the ground where the rabbit would be, but he just acting like a human being by his actions and attitudes. So I believe that after reading all of the articles, Scott was pay attention for the images and the words more than the other crickets.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Yeah,
Thank you,
Zahra,
Doctor.
you're welcome. Thank you. Zahra?
Yes, doctor. So also the article for Sharon Goodman, it's about how the writer, how Beatrix avoid giving strict or forwardly moral stories or moral lessons at the end of the story, and how it's considered an anthropomorphic story.
ما بينفع اللي حكيت لك اياه امبارح اني افوت.
So it has a whole token in it.
Yeah, okay. So that's this ambivalence towards the character and towards what is happening. You cannot really know whether she is trying to say that this boy should be punished for what he did, right? You cannot really safely say that she is on one side and not on the other, right?
Yeah, and she was ahead of her time. Like she wrote this story in a time where, children stories were and usually end with a very strict moral lessons, like Snow White, for example. So she was really ahead of her time.
Yeah, the idea that she believes that there is more to art and literature than just moralizing and giving a moral lesson, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Anybody else? I mean, other than Zahra and Diala and Sarah? Marim Radwan, are you the Marim Radwan that I know from before? You're not even here, right? That's fine. Okay. So as you can see, the picture book is full of ideas, And again, those ideas are not limited to the child. You may even think that they are not fit for children because these are big issues. Like I said, the idea of disobeying with its archetypal aspects. When you talk about disobedience, I mean, the image of Adam and Eve gets invoked, for example, together with other things, of course. Um, Again, we shouldn't also overlook the fact that this is a picture book. It's not a book. It's a picture book, which means that we place a big premium on the images and where the images are on the page. Remember, we said that there is significance for everything. I mean, choosing where to put a character is not done randomly or haphazardly. No, there is a meaning behind it, and we need to look for this meaning. So and color symbolism is all over the place. Um, Again, you need to think of Mr. MacGruger, what kind of forces he is representing. And so again, we have issues, we have real issues, and we also have a lot of technicalities. Remember, this is a picture book, and it is, you know, it should be appreciated because it's a picture book, not because of the themes and the ideas, because the themes and the ideas can be presented in any other form. You can write about that in a poem, in a novel. The real challenge or the real takeaway would be making those pictures come up or come out and give you the meanings that you otherwise receive through text, only text. So we spoke also about this idea of interplay, this idea of um, what marriage, if you like, between the image and the text. They work together towards one single effect and one goal, right? So the goals are different. I mean, it can be raising people's awareness about um, oppression in the world and in the manner of Mr. Mac Kruger. It can also be about saying no. It's about uh, rebelling and protesting against bad societal practices and a lot more. Um, okay, so like I said, the articles are very important and you need to do yourself a favor by reading them. So don't settle for the presentation that I gave and the presentation that I sent to you. You need to read the articles. The presentation gives you an outline, but you need details so that when you write essays, you have details. You wouldn't give me in the different exams this very thin outline as given in the presentation, okay? So again, the tale of Peter Rabbit and who Peter Rabbit stands for and what kind of issues he brings to the conversation. Let me see what I have and what I can share today. There is an interesting course. It's not. It's a mini course. I wouldn't call it a course. I would call it a micro credential course on the website of the Open University, and it is also on and about children's literature. It's a very small kind of course that I would like you to go to and enroll in. Like I said, it's not big. This is obviously the link. Can you see the link?
Yes, doctor.
So I would like you, and this is, and I'll give you a mark. If you go and have yourself enrolled and you study the course, I give you a mark. And it's only one mark because it's an easy course, but it gives you, it introduces you to the world of children's literature. I don't,
Doctor,
yes.
can you send the link in the chat, please?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to do. Wait, I'll try to take it. But before I do that, let me stop sharing and then use WhatsApp. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Can you press it so that I can make sure that you guys can have access? I'll give you a minute for that. Let's see whether it opens or not.
Yes, doctor. And we have the screen about what do you think about Open Learn to improve experience talking over our survey. No,
So does it?
Also, we have create an account, sign in, or more free courses.
I mean, you can do it, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys can access it. But you can do it. You can create the account on your own, inshallah, when we finish. Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay, like I said, you'll be rewarded if you enroll in the course, together with the fact that it's going to benefit you a great deal, of course. Okay, let's move somewhere else. Okay. This is some kind of introduction that we should have perhaps started with. It's about, children's literature and the fond memories that we had when we were kids, and you normally have, because we're kids, because we are unable to read and write, we have pictures. And, those picture books used to be very simple and even oversimplified for obvious reasons. We're talking about kids. So you have this kind of um, integration, if you like, between the two. And the Tale of Peter Rabbit happens to be one of those, picture books that is all over the place, that is very popular for obvious reasons. So what is it that we want to achieve by having a course like that? So we're trying to understand how images communicate meanings to the readers of children's books. We also need to understand the role of cultural knowledge in making sense of it. It's cultural knowledge. So it's knowledge we know. What about this idea of culture? So sometimes you have the knowledge, but you don't have much background about the culture or that you're reading from. So building this kind of knowledge is very important, and building it for children is equally important. So you cannot make sense of a lot of the images and pictures in a picture book until and unless you have this cultural knowledge. You need to also, through the course, understand how words and pictures can reinforce or contradict one another in a text. So again, pictures are not all meant to reinforce or consolidate. They can, yeah, the picture can contradict the text, and obviously, when the writer does that, he has something to share with us. I mean, he wants to say he has or she has a point. Again, we said that for so long, writers were acknowledged, while their illustrators or the people who used to draw for them were not given due recognition. They were considered secondary to the work. So, new children's literature, uh, novels, and pictures book have the illustrator at the core of the work. The illustrator or illustrators now are as important as the writers themselves. They are given their due recognition, and they are now celebrities in their own rights. Again, one of the aims would be to see how the use of images has evolved and changed over the years. And again, who are we addressing by those children books? Is it only the children or even their carers and adults? So how much do we know about this idea of picture, the agency of pictures, and how pictures have always played a major role in books? Again, you need, or we have always needed pictures because kids, especially if they are so young, they cannot read or write. So unless you have pictures, they wouldn't be able to get the messages that you're trying to get across to them. So that's why when a writer has children in mind, addressing children, there has to be pictures. Again, pictures, because they are pictures, they help you to they set your imagination free. They help you develop rich imagination. So the idea is that we have writers like Beatrice Potter and Anthony Brown trying to have this combination between imagery and text, and how they use that in very advanced, sophisticated ways. And obviously, they are doing that to communicate with young and with the young and the old, and to engage them. Okay, so we're talking about pictures. We're talking about pictures that has always been there for children because they illustrate, they help. So if we talk about the agency and the importance of pictures, we would even go beyond perhaps the 16th century. We can even go back, way back, and we go to the ancient picture, the ancient, I mean, the things that you see inscribed on the temples in ancient Egypt and in other places of the world. So the real beginning was, or the official, let's say, the official beginning was in the 16th century, where you have a number of works that were meant to address children, where you have doodling in the margins, which would suggest that we're talking about children and we're using children's hands. There is a very famous work that goes all the way back. It was written in Latin, but it was translated into English in 1659. And we're talking about stories by Richard Benson and others. So I think we're all agreed on the fact that a picture tells 1,000 words, or a picture is worth 1,000 words. Right? Don't you agree with that? That
Yes,
sometimes a picture can
Yes,
sum
Doctor.
up, yes, whatever you can say in a book, in hundreds of pages, you can say in a few in a picture, or perhaps in a few pictures. Exactly like poems, remember? And this is what I keep saying. You can have a poem that is 6 or 7 or 8 lines, and it can say what a book of 100 pages says. So this is particularly so when it comes to images. Again, when we talk about images, we talk about the existing knowledge. In order for you to engage with the image and understand it and decode it and break it down to its basic components, you need to have this existing cultural knowledge. Again, you have a problem because you're depending on your existing knowledge and your experience. But if we talk about a child, sometimes they don't have existing knowledge and they don't have the experience. But somehow they pick up the clues and they understand things. So young children are able to derive a great deal of meaning and pleasure from the activity, even if when they cannot yet decode the letters and words. Yeah, which means that they have. We believe that they don't have the knowledge, but perhaps that would take us to the idea that perhaps they are born with certain amounts of knowledge. So they are able to make connections between the pictures and words of the story. Again, the idea of reading things out loud for them, it makes these connections. They start to learn how to read, and they are also when you read to a child a story and then you go again and read another story, and then on a different night you read a third one, he or she starts to build a database of stories. And every time he or she reads a new story, he tries to understand it against the stories that he has read before. So he this expansion of his knowledge of the other stories helps him understand. So he can make sense of pictures even if he hasn't seen them before. Again, because of the experience that the child got or gets reading here and there. Um,
Sometimes they can't even understand the messages
yes.
behind the texts until they see the picture. You know, children have also some kind of intelligence related to visuals and images.
Yes, they can be. I would say that they have this. Can I ask you to mute your mic, Malish? They can have this internalized literacy. They have a يا جماعة, please mute your mic. Okay. So we were talking about this idea that you don't have to teach the child how to read something or how to understand something, because research has proven that sometimes they have inborn literacy. They are born with certain abilities that
Exactly.
would allow them to not fully understand but relate to what is happening in a picture book. Um, Again, children, because they are very smart, when you read different stories for them, they build their own lexicon, they build their own databases, and without your help as an adult, they can understand depending on their previous experience with other works. Sharon Goodman, when she spoke in her introduction, referred to the idea that children's literature came to its own only in the 20th century. But before that, it was underappreciated. People used to deal with it in a light way. They didn't believe that children's literature is, something. They didn't used to deal with it the way they used to deal with mainstream literature that was written for adults. Um, Again, because it's a vast terrain, like we said, you have a variety of styles and a variety of functions and purposes. We need to make this distinction between illustrated books and picture books. And obviously, the difference is big. When we talk about illustrated books, um, these are books that do not have aesthetic value. They are there for the sake of decoration. You're decorating something. Instead of having, a book that is dry, that doesn't have colors or images, you use those images and colors. And in this case, you're using the pictures for decorative reasons. While in picture books, the pictures are, like we said, are very important. They are visual narratives. Visual narratives means that you need to check them, you need to understand them very well, because they can inform the experience, because they can tell you a great deal about the story and the significance of events and things. Um, so again, it's about this idea of engagement, is this idea of um, engaging yourself intellectually and emotionally, uh, um, which means that picture books are more or less like verbal art. So this is art, and when we talk about art, we talk about images and paintings and stuff, and it's verbal. Verbal part of it is um, written in words. So you have this combination of whatever is visual and whatever is verbal. And if we have this combination, it means that picture books have always been there. You can go with them all the way back to perhaps 40,000 years. So this is an indication that picture books haven't started in the 19 or the 17 or the 18th century. It started way back. If we talk about the first cave people in Europe, if we talk about Egyptian hieroglyphics. So as you can see in the pictures, these are very mature and very advanced kinds of paintings and drawings. And again, they tell us a great deal. They are full of ideas and full of significance. And then we move all the way to the 19th century, where children's literature started to take prominence. People started to take interest in it, and they started to deal with it in a different way. I mean, believing in its ability to make changes to help educate people about things. So it's only in the 19th century, with the technological advancements that the time was witnessing, that we started to have, or people started to take interest, or to take deep interest in pictures, and color started to be introduced. And then typically, if you have something and it is gaining momentum and currency, and people are starting to show interest, that you see people divided over the value of this kind of thing. We're talking, of course, about images and pictures. For some parents, the attractiveness and the power of the image help children develop. It develops their literacy and the love for storytelling. For other people, or for other parents, images distract, or they believe that those images distract children, and they stop them from developing verbal literacy, and this can stop them from from being able to be fluent and confident when they read. So these are two conflicting views. So again, people believe that it can propel children, it can kind of develop in them the love for reading, and they end up having literacy, and their imagination can be enriched. And you have other people who say that the image can be a distractor, a big one. It can distract you, it can prevent you from developing as a reader, as a confident and fluent reader. I don't know. What do you think when you think of images and pictures? If you have a child, for example, would you expose him to books that have images right from the very start? Or are you going to first of all perhaps teach him how to read and write, or what? Let's have your thoughts on that. Let's have Zahra.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think both are important. Reading a story for him or her without a picture is also important to motivate his own imagination. But I think most importantly is the picture book. They give a very vivid picture and very vivid imagination for the story. So they develop the idea accurately.
Okay, fine. Let's move to Amal. Amal wants to share something.
Yes, both are so important, but I think children learn more through the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Diala?
Yes, doctor. I believe that all the children can just have the ability to read, but not all of the children have the ability to draw the same conclusion when they just saw the pictures. So if just we give them the books with illustrations or pictures, maybe we have a different point of views or different analyzing for it. So they can just read the book in their point of view. I feel that this is more interested than just only reading. So I am 100% agree with pictures first.
Yeah. And as they grow older, it's up to you whether to kind of take away the picture and focus on the text, because um, sometimes it's very important for them to imagine things. But if they have something ready-made, they have the image that this is, over time, they wouldn't need to kind of use their imagination, because the
Exactly.
pictures are there. Yes, but this is
It's
the
gave,
real. Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's gave another perspective and meaning for them. Yes, they can read. They have the ability to read, but for the imagination, it's way different, to be honest.
yes. Um, so it depends on when and why and how and everything in between, obviously. We spoke about that. So Whaley, Joyce Erin Whaley, and where she focused obviously on the history of picture books and children's literature, and again on why those children books were neglected, and they were thought very little of, as a matter of fact. That's why producer didn't care very much about whether those picture books are going to be colored, whether they are going to be high quality. Um, so these are the different um, texts and essays and articles that we came across. Again, I shouldn't be repeating myself, perhaps very quickly. We're talking about the period between the mid 17th century to the First World War. And we're talking about the, evolution and development. And this is, of course, related to the idea. When they started, it was in colored, and then you have color reproduction. And of course, for example, in the 19th century, people started to read and write a lot, and they would consume anything. And among the things that they would consume would be children's books. Again, money was very important at the time, as it always is, because if because people used to think very little of children's literature, so they would think twice about um, how much they would invest in a picture book, and the result would be that they don't spend much, again because they believe that children's literature is not as valuable as adult literature and adult books. Again, over time, there is going to be improvement in design quality, and the people start to take interest in the artists and the illustrators themselves, rather than they wouldn't look at them as secondary or supplementary. No, they are, and they started to look at them as high-minded and as serious, as also important and as praiseworthy, like the writer himself. And then, of course, you spoke about Mobius and how important Mobius is. Remember, we spoke about his codes. We also spoke about him using what we call the multimodal approach, multimodality, where you don't just focus on the text or the word, you also try to unpack the image. You try to understand why the writer, or I'm sorry, the one who illustrated and used those illustrations, how he used them and why and what significance they have. So Mobus does not focus on the word or the text, and full stop. We spoke about him as being one of the pioneers of the field or the discipline that we now call visual stylistics. His whole idea comes under the concept that we call multimodality. Multi means many, and modality is how you approach a text. So you approach a text in different and in multiple ways. Can be the imagery and the images, and if it's the images, you need to ask yourself how or where those images are positioned in the page, how if there are characters involved and they are portrayed, you need to see where they are portrayed. So modality is simply the close reading of the visual elements of texts, and you read them for their own sake. Modality is also about how the visual combines with the verbal or with words in text to create meaning for readers and viewers. So unlike other people who obviously didn't believe in the importance and the agency of picture books, unlike them, Mobus believed or used to believe that picture books lend themselves to detailed textual analysis, and they need this renewed closed scrutiny. He is trying to say that picture books are never simple, are never simplistic, and they don't target children only. Again, he is looking at the complementary nature of picture books, and the fact that and the pictures shouldn't be read independent of the text or in isolation. They have to be understood in relation to the text. So if we talk about images, we need to see what context they have. We need to also look at the sequence and the meaning that is derived from the positioning of the text and the interaction between the images and the words. One very important thing that he referred to is the idea of shifting meanings. I mean, according to him, interpretation and meaning shift in the sense that the meaning gets changed. Again, there is no one single trusted interpretation. Everyone can come up with his or her own interpretation. Even the symbols that we use, they may vary. Symbolic things may differ from one age to another. So to generalize and to safely say that this picture book means this and that is obviously not very accurate, because my truth is different from yours. I can be seeing things from a different angle of vision, from a different perspective. And then there was this talk about postmodern texts and postmodern picture. So postmodern means that we're talking about the period from perhaps the 50s until now, where obviously there was a shift of interest, a shift in the way things are done, and of course in the way picture books were made. So adding to the 3 dimensions that we're familiar with, you can also add, you know, dimensions that are not normally looked at when we talk about the spaces between the pages. When we talk about the page turners, all the things that allow you to have an experience like no other with picture books can count. So we're stressing the fact that meaning is not fixed, and you can always spot and detect new patterns. There is also this idea that the images and the words are intertwined. And you cannot really read or deal with a picture book in traditional ways, in a linear and chronological way. No, there is obviously more to picture books than that. And this is basically this part. Again, we're saying things that we I think we said these things before. Let me move on. If you have any questions so far. No questions. Okay. Okay. So when we focus perhaps more on the picture book, the Tale of Peter Rabbit, we need to not to lose sight of the fact that the author or the writer is not just another author. She used to work on her stories. She used to have high demands when publishing those stories. She took the idea of children literature very seriously when everybody else was not serious about it. So The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrice Potter was known as the first in a series of 23 books. And those 23 books came to be known as Beatrice Potter's Little Books. Again, at the core, you have animals. You also have nursery rhymes. So if we talk about The Tale of Peter Rabbit, we know that it was published by Frederick Warren in 1902, and it remained in print and phenomenally popular with children ever since until now. So how did the idea come? So it was a series of picture letters, and she wanted to send them, or she sent them to Noel Moore, and obviously Noel Moore was a former governor, somebody who worked for her. So as a gift, she sent those drawings, and under them, of course, she's writing something. She sent them to the child of this former governess that she had. And then after a while, she liked the idea and she started to look for a publisher. At the core of children's literature and picture book, you have the idea of having animals with human traits. So you bring in the animal, and the animals become characters in their own right, and they normally exhibit and show human human traits and features. Is this new? Absolutely not. This is not new. This is something that we're used to since the fables of Aesop. We spoke about Aesop yesterday, and we said that Aesop is an ancient Greek citizen. He was also an artist. He used to write picture books. Not picture books, I mean, he used to have stories where animals have lead roles, and you normally have a moral lesson at the end. What do we mean by having characters that are non-human?
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah, we said that this is anthropomorphism, and this act is anthropomorphic. Again, they do it for a number of reasons. I mean, um, again, they are trying to distance themselves from what's happening. They don't want any commitment. So again, this kind of practice where you endow animals with human attributes, and this kind of practice is as old as literature itself, and it goes all the way back to 600 BC in ancient Greece. So again, what is so special about those kinds of stories is that uh, um, they have this idea of morality to them. You're doing this, you're creating those fables in order for people to learn a lesson or two. So then they were highly didactic means ta'limi. They insist on teaching you a thing or two. Again, how about Peter Rabbit? Does it fall into this category, being too direct, being and wanting to give moral lesson? Obviously, no. Remember when we spoke about ambivalence and the fact that you cannot really know whether Potter is for what Peter is doing or against him. And this is the plot, as you know. I'll give you a couple of minutes to read the plot, and then we talk about it. Okay, so it's very simple, or it seems very simple, but obviously it's more complicated than what meets the eye, right? And even the pictures, like I said, the pictures are very significant, and they can tell you. Remember, you spent like 2 or 3 minutes reading the plot. You may spend more if you read the original text, but look at a picture like this. A picture like this sums up everything, right? What do you understand from a picture like this? Yeah. Diala, yeah, I mean, your name is very long, right? So Muhammad Ramadan is not a student that we have. It's
No,
your your family
yeah,
name, right?
yes, Diala Mahmoud Muhammad Ramadan, yeah.
Kitira. Okay.
Because I'm just connecting through my university email.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Inshallah. طيب. Okay. So what's happening in the picture like this one?
Can I, doctor?
Yes. What's your name?
I'm Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
From the first look, obviously, you can tell it's a family, maybe, or a bunch of rabbits, brothers, sisters. They got their names down, and yeah, you can like you can get something from a picture eventually.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about how rich a picture like this. It can say a lot.
Yeah.
I promise you,
I
right? Yes.
Can I, doctor?
Yes. Go ahead.
Which one?
Yeah, and the one that we're seeing.
No, I mean me or Diala.
Yeah. You go ahead.
Okay, so the picture shows the three sisters, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Currentail, and Peter at the corner of the picture or the page. He is on the right. So the three sisters are playing. They are enjoying their time. They seems like they are playing, but Peter is the poster of Peter is he is sitting. His ears are up, so he is kind of thinking. He is maybe deciding on doing something. He might decide on going to adventure, and he has some kind of agency because he's not doing what his sister is doing. He is at the corner doing something else.
Yes. Yeah, that would point us. Yeah, Bara.
Yes, exactly. Maybe Peter will be the main character or will be the narrator of the story, like most of the time, because look how he's sitting.
Okay. I don't want to spoil it. I have something to say, but let me also listen to what other people have to say.
Can I, doctor?
Yes. What's your name?
Diala,
Yeah.
as I can see, according to the names, I feel that the three names, it can be a name for an animal, but as a Peter, Peter is a name for a person. So this is just something weird. Secondly, that he is just taking a side. He just moving away from his sisters, while that he is just uh, maybe he is just rejected or refused something that he don't wanted to do what his sister done. Also, he is just standing on his legs, I believe. He is not acting like an animal. He is just taking the stand of the human being. And his face look that he is, um, um, I don't know, maybe I will say angry, or he don't want to do something. There is something in his face. Maybe if it's color that I can really actually yani, guess what he is feeling now, but because it's just black and white, so this is so difficult for me.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. We have time for one more. How about this? Yeah, Maram, go ahead, Imran.
Yes, I believe my colleagues have said it all. It's very obvious. It's a family made of rabbits. We have Peter is on the side. He is isolated. It tells something that he is different from his family. He is maybe isolated. I think from the look on his face, he looks a bit sad for me.
Mm. Okay. Is it about sadness and sorrow, or perhaps he, I mean, remember the three um, other rabbits are together. They, yeah, I mean, they are obviously lying down, eating or sleeping. I don't know what is happening, and he is alone. Perhaps this is an indication that he is an independent thinker. He does things on his own. He has his own mind. Remember that the three other rabbits are female and he is male. Okay, and that would bring us to the idea of stereotypes. You would
Different
perhaps,
lifestyles.
yeah, the fact that Potter is perhaps subscribing to the stereotype about girls and women as being, dependent, as being non-assertive, while giving us the male character Peter here as being independent, as being adventurous, as being taking matters into his own hands. So perhaps she's subscribing to this idea. Again, what is clear though is that Peter is different. He is different in different ways. I mean, the fact that um, he doesn't listen to his mom, he and then it doesn't mean that he doesn't show enough respect. It's not about respect, obviously. It's about um, what it's about exercising what is expected of him as a man in a male-dominated world where you have this idea that men are perhaps more powerful. They ask all the questions. They go out and embark on adventures and they take risks. Perhaps she is trying to entrench this stereotype, or perhaps she is fighting and exposing and challenging this kind of stereotype. How about this?
Can I, Doctor?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I will repeat my my notice that Peter is wearing a jacket, and we know that jacket is for humans.
Mm,
So it just like that he is the writer give him the character or the characteristics of a human being. Secondly,
mm,
that we can see that the mommy, she is distributing the food, so we can believe that she is the responsible one to feed her kids in a society where is the man is the responsible, but she is holding these jobs instead of her man.
mm.
Also, the little girls, they are just gathering around her to take the foods. But as you say, that Peter rejected this role and he just wanted to play his own role as a man. That's it.
Nice. Okay. Again, he's taking a side, like always. Again, you would think about it in different ways, right? Can be independence and autonomy. It can be they call it ostracization. When he is ostracized, it means that because of what he does or what he did, he'll be alienated because he's different now. He's going, according to some traditionalists, he is a transgressor. He is somebody who is challenging the system. The system says that you shouldn't resist or defy authority. And authority here is his mother. The system says that as a rabbit, uh, um, you shouldn't resist being turned into a pie like your father, because you're only like an animal and you're here in order to please human beings, to make them happy. So obviously he is trying to challenge and defeat those stereotypical images. He is redefining the relationship between man and animals, if you like. Again, that would bring us to the idea of uh, on whose side Beatrice is on or standing. Is she giving us a moral lesson, or is she ambivalent? Is she what kind of attitude is she in a kind of adopting? And I need you to think of this. When you read the picture book, those who haven't read it, and it's a majority in class, we need to check through the text and also through the images whether you feel that Beatrice Potter has an agenda or not, whether she is for what Peter did or she was against it, and if she was for or against, how does it show it? How does she show it? And this is a side note about where Peter is in the different pictures. And obviously, it's a common practice to see, the main character or the child positioned in a certain way. And when you read and look, you take the same line of sight so that you can feel for the character and you can adopt his point of view. You can feel empathetic towards him. Again, like I said, there is a great deal of talk about the idea of gender, the idea of males and females, and whether um, Potter is subscribing to the traditional way of seeing women and the traditional way of seeing men or not. There is a great deal of give and take on that. I would like you to read more about this. This is all I have for you today. I think I'll stop on this note. Until we meet next time, I would like to I would like you to read again the text. I would like you to read the articles, the different articles, and read them very thoroughly. And if you would like to come up, to write essays and inspired by what you read and overviews, you can always do that, and you can always share them with us very early on. Can talk about them. Next time will mark the end of our activities as far as the Tale of Peter Rabbit. So we're going to take perhaps Monday is going to be wrapping up of the Tale of Peter Rabbit, and on Tuesday we're going to do the second one, inshallah, which is Voices in the Park. Yeah, Maram, go ahead. You have a question.
I wanted to share my opinion about the pictures, and I forgot my hand raised. But I also wanted to ask you, shall we share what we write?
Yeah, we can always use the WhatsApp group, and
okay.
and we can always talk and discuss and any of these things, and yeah, we can do that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
You're welcome. Dialam, go ahead.
Yes, doctor. I have another lecture now with Dr. Mohsen, part A.
We're leaving. We're all leaving.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, bye-bye. يلا يا جماعة I'll see you إن شاء الله next week. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. See you.